So, do you believe churches or pastors should endorse certain candidates or take political sides, Democrat, Republican?
Okay.
Do you think that should be happening?
I do believe that it's completely fine for pastors to stand up on a platform and say, I am okay. I believe that these are the issues that are important, and I would implore you to vote accordingly.
Do you think that's okay?
I think that's okay. And so, in other words, for me, as a pastor, rarely am I going to stand up and endorse a specific candidate. Often because I don't know that candidate, and I don't want it to come across as if I know that candidate, and therefore we need to vote for him or for her because I don't know them. And so, I mean, it's the same way, like, I even tell our own church, like, there's these big celebrity pastors. Be careful of them. We don't know them. Right? We don't know what their future holds. We don't know their teachings, their personal life. Just be careful. Okay? So this is not just something I do just with politicians. This is something I would do with anyone. Like, hey, if we don't know them, let's don't endorse them.
Okay.
Right? So the people that I have come and speak at our church are people I personally know.
Okay.
I would not invite someone to come speak at our church that I do not personally know or who was not personally like recommended from someone I trusted to come and speak at our church.
But I could view that as worse.
What do you mean?
Like, if you knew the candidate, it's like, why do you have them at your church?
Yeah.
Why are you endorsing them? What are you getting?
Yeah, and I don't, and that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if I knew them, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, for a political candidate.
Okay.
Because that in of itself, it's one thing when I'm bringing in a speaker, a Christian speaker, right? Because there's things that they are presenting that I want the church to know, to understand,
even if they're complete pieces of shit behind the scenes.
Oh dear God, no. If they have no moral character, then no, I don't want them.
Okay.
I don't want them speaking. But that's kind of where it gets back to me for the people that I know that I trust, right?
Okay.
And so, but if I don't know a candidate, or even if I did know a candidate, I would, let me put it this way, I would have to know a candidate like really well.
Okay.
For me to be able to say, you can trust this person and vote for him.
Okay.
Or her.
That was close.
And so but what I'm saying is, it's not as, here's the thing, I guess. In voting politically for me, it's not as much about the individual candidate as it is about what that candidate is going to hopefully stand for.
Because every time you vote for a candidate, you can be pretty sure they don't care about any of the things that they're selling to you to vote for them for.
That can be the case very often.
Right.
Because and that's why it gets back down to, you don't know the people, you don't know their hearts, you don't know their intentions, you don't know their motives. And I'm not saying there's not good people in both parties or in all parties. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that I also am not naive enough to stand up here and go, or sit here and say, you know what, they're all great. No, of course they're not. Or, well, they said they were going to do this. I mean, how many times has a candidate said they're going to do something and actually not do it? It happens more so than not. And so, but my point being is, instead of endorsing just specific candidates, for me, it's about presenting the church with, like, here are the issues
that we should be picking our candidates based
that
on.
we should know about.
Okay.
For both sides. Like,
so there's nothing in the Bible that says you can't endorse government people.
Sure. No.
Okay.
No. And
all
so,
right. So this is you personally, not something biblical that says you can't do it.
No.
Okay.
No. Biblically, there's no statement in there about, about how to vote, not vote. That's not there.
Okay.
Okay. And so this is for me.
But there is government relations stuff to the church in the Bible.
Correct? Oh, sure there is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you've got it on both sides. You've got it where the idea is to pray for our government so that we can all live in peace and tranquility.
Okay.
There is the submit to the government. In other words, when they're asking you to civilly do something, submit. And as long as it's not in violation of of the Christian belief and practice.
Okay.
Okay.
So if the government tells you to kill somebody, you probably shouldn't.
Correct.
Unless it's war, which I guess we have to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole thing on just war, I think, but which I would love to do. But for me, yeah, it's that throughout Scripture, what you actually see is you actually see Christians and Jews being defiant at times of government when their conscience is being violated by that government.
Their religious conscience.
Right.
Okay.
And then you also see them submitting to religious practices. I mean, even Jesus himself said, when they were asking him about, do we still pay taxes to Caesar? In other words, do we still give money to Rome? Rome's a bunch of jerks to us.
Mm-hmm.
They're persecuting us. Are we still going to give money to Rome? And Jesus says, give to Caesar what is due Caesar. In other words, if that's the tax, pay them the tax. And you even see Jesus actually doing that in one example where he and Peter actually do pay us tax.
Jesus paid taxes?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Taxes
all that extra table money?
Taxes get us all.
Okay.
And so, but
you caught too many fish.
Tax.
Where'd you get all these fish? And loaves of bread. Tax.
Yeah. And so often there's like a tax when they were traveling and going into a new area, a new region, there'd be a tax collected.
Like a road toll?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And so but my point being is so in the Scriptures you have the submitting and honoring to government as long as they're not violating your Christian conscience. And then there is the call to, no, it's okay to stand up for your Christian conscience in defiance of the government.
Okay.
So if the government was to come in and say, you can't worship anymore, you can't gather anymore, it's okay to protest that, to fight that, to be arrested for sitting in and going, no, we will not bow down to this. That's all okay. My position as a pastor is that I want our church to be informed. I want them to know, hey, biblically speaking, these things matter or should matter to us in regards to biblically for our worldview, for our morals, for values, for ethics. These things should matter to us. And I'm completely fine with if a church wants to say, hey, here's a breakdown of the political stances on these issues from the candidates.
Okay.
I got no problem with that. You're not slandering anybody. You are, am I? I understand. And as a pastor, I'm exerting influence. I completely get that. But I'm also okay with the fact that, hey, there's these certain issues that are really important to us. And we want you to know they're important to us. And we ask for you to prayerfully consider how you're going to vote. But it doesn't mean we're going to throw you out of the church if you don't vote our way.
You're skipping ahead again.
Sorry. And so, I want to make sure that I'm presenting the best that I can, biblical and pastoral guidance to our people.
When it comes to voting.
Without telling them, you've got to do this
or
else.